In chapter 18, and this is one of my favorite stories. I don't know why, but it is in the Bible, of Jehoshaphat and Ahab. I think it's because it's just a bit cheeky in the way that it does it, and we'll just see how we'll get into it. Now, Jehoshaphat had riches and honor in abundance, and joined affinity with Ahab. So, he's just become a second Solomon in the way that he seems to attract. He's quite charismatic, I would guess. Attract other countries to pay honor to him. And if you look in the footnote, it says aligned himself by marriage with Ahab. And after certain years, he went. After certain years, he went down to Ahab to Samaria, and Ahab killed sheep and oxen for him in abundance for the people that he had with him, and persuaded him to go up with him to Ramoth Gilead. So he goes there. Ahab shows him a lot of respect and throws. I'm two ways that I read this is either through a big feast, or he was doing sacrifices. But I think that it's in Samaria. He probably threw a big feast, made Jehoshaphat feel wanted or whatever, and then persuaded him to go against Ramoth Gilead. And Ahab, king of Israel, said unto Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, Wilt thou go with me to Ramoth Gilead? And he answered him, I am as thou art, my people as thy people, and we will be with thee in war. We've heard that statement before. I am as thou art, my people. It's a way of saying, we'll fight with you. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of the Lord today. So he says, I'll go up with you. There's no problem. But let's find out what the Lord wants first. I'm sure Ahab was like, yeah, sure, that's what I want to do. Therefore the king of Israel gathered together the prophets, 400 men, and said unto them, Shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for God will deliver it into the king's hands. If you notice, I usually put the God or Lord underlined so that we see where he's mentioned in the scriptures. But this in red, but this time I just highlighted in yellow. This is where we've got somebody that the prophets are prophesying what they think God should say, not what they believe. Not what God has said to them. This isn't really God that they're talking about. So I'm not putting his stamp on there saying, oh, God said this. But Jehoshaphat said, is there not a prophet of the Lord besides that we might inquire of him? He notices that these people have no authority to say these things. For some reason, they're called prophets in Samaria, but he sees them as, isn't there a real prophet? And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man. This is where I really love how the story takes a turn. but by whom we may inquire of the Lord. But I hate him. That's that line is like, I hate him. It's like, don't mince your words. Tell me how you really feel about him. For he never prophesieth good unto me, but always evil. Why? Why would he do that? Maybe because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. The same is Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And Jehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. He's basically saying, well, maybe, I don't think he's saying this, but under the words I kind of hear him saying, well, maybe if he did what he asked you to do, it would be good. But he also says, well, maybe we should listen to him anyway. And the king of Israel called for one of his officers and said, fetch quickly Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat either of them on his throne, clothed in their robes, and they sat in a void place at the entering of the gate of Samaria. And all the prophets prophesied before them. So all these 400 men were sitting there telling them, oh, you're going to do so great. You're going to be so wonderful. And Zedekiah, the son of Chenaiah, had made him horns of iron, and said, thus saith the Lord, with these thou shalt push Syria until they be consumed. And if you look under horns of iron, it says the emblem of military might. So he went one step further and says, look, you even have the horns of iron. You cannot lose now. And the prophets prophesied so, saying, go up to Ramoth Gilead, and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. See, they have a chance of getting it right if, for instance, the armies, you've got two armies against one, so surely they'll prosper anyway. And so saying the Lord shall deliver it is probably a good idea in their eyes. And the messenger went to call Micah. The messenger that went to call Micah spake to him, saying, behold, the words of the prophets declare good to the king with one assent. Let thy word, therefore, I pray thee, be like unto one of theirs, and speak thou good. He's basically saying, everybody's doing it. Everybody's saying the same thing. Stay on the same page. Isn't this one a really good story for when we feel that we're being pressurized? Oh, well, everybody's drinking. Everybody's doing this or that. Or everybody's not living the commandments the way that you live the commandments. You should live it the way we do. That's what I'm getting from this. A lot of peer pressure. Micaiah says, as the Lord liveth, even what my God saith I will speak. He has his mind focused on what should happen, not on what other people think. And when he was come to the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? The same question as what the others did. And he said, go ye up and prosper, that they shall be delivered into your hand. I tried to say it as flat as I could, but really the way I kind of hear it is, oh yeah, go ye up and prosper. They shall be delivered in your hand. Such, you get the sarcasm going through this a lot. You just can see him just going, yeah, right. Yeah, you do what everybody else said. Don't listen to me. Just go and do it. I'm sure that they'll be right. And the king said unto him, and I love this, how many times have I adjured thee that thou say nothing but the truth to me in the name of the Lord? Isn't that interesting? The king knew that he was not being truthful there, in the sense of being sarcastic, really. And he always wants to have the truth, but he hates him because he tells him the truth. It makes me laugh. I like this story because it just does make me laugh. And he said, I did see all Israel scattered upon the mountains as sheep that have no shepherd. And the Lord said, these have no master. Let them return, therefore, every man to his house in peace. Basically, he's saying, you're going to die if you go up to battle. And your army is going to be scattered. That's just going to happen because the Lord said so. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, I love how he just turns to Jehoshaphat now. He just says, did I not tell you thee that he would not prophesy good unto me but evil? He did say something he said you'd be good. He said he lied. And so he told you the truth. And now you're saying, no, he never says anything good about me. I just love this story. It just makes me laugh a little bit. And again he said, therefore, hear the word of the Lord. Now this is interesting. I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing on his right hand and on his left. If you remember when we were in Kings, this same story, we read it. Not with quite as much flair, but it was still there. And it talked about this. And would the Lord send a lying spirit? The more I've read this, the more I realize this is like a parable. This is like saying, well, what if? I don't think it's like a vision as such, even though it says, I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne. I think what it is him saying, once upon a time, I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne. And look what happens. Basically, he is saying, would God tell you something false? No, he won't. Now, let's read the rest of it. The Lord said, who shall entice Ahab, king of Israel, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? So he's kind of saying, so did God tell you to do this? God must have. He's the one that said he wants you to go and fall at Ramoth Gilead. Is that what is happening here? Because that's what your prophets are saying. You'll go up there, and they're saying you'll succeed, but you won't. If the Lord tells you you won't succeed there, but you should go up there, should you go up there? Or what? It's sort of like him just saying, he's given this kind of a parable about the Lord saying that, and one spake saying after this manner, and another saying after that manner. They're kind of saying, well, there is no answer, because he's going to go up. If he goes up to Ramoth Gilead, he will die. Did the Lord really entice Ahab to go out against Ramoth Gilead? No. That's the whole point. He's not doing what the Lord wants him to do. Ahab is not following the Lord in this. And so this becomes that parable of, well, what if the Lord told you to do it? Well, he didn't. And there came out a spirit and stood before the Lord. And if you look on there, it says, I believe, a lying spirit. Yeah, a lying spirit. And stood before the Lord and said, I will entice him. And the Lord said unto him, wherewith? How will you entice him? And he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. Right there, he points right to the prophets that just said, you will be fine going up against them. You will win. And he says, they are lying. A lying spirit has told them that you will succeed. And the Lord said, thou shalt entice him, and thou shalt also prevail. Go out and do even so. And in the footnote it says, for all these have sinned against me. Basically, he's saying, okay, this lying spirit is going to entice him. And the Lord's going to say, okay, you can do that. If he's going to listen to them, let him listen. He won't listen to my prophet that tells him the truth. Then that lying spirit in the mouth of the other prophets will be what he hears. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put, and instead of put, it says, hath found. So he didn't put a lying spirit in the mouth of these high prophets. He found a lying spirit. They're lying. He's saying, all of those 400 men, they're lying. They're lying to you. You can either believe me or believe them, but they're lying. I'm telling you the truth. You asked me to tell you the truth. I told you the truth. If you don't, it's on you. And the Lord hath spoken evil against thee. So you see how that's just kind of this story saying, they're lying, I'm telling the truth. And you can't blame it on the Lord or anything else, because I've told you the truth. They're lying. Some evil spirit must have told them something if that is how if they believe they've got it from the Lord. And Zedekiah the son of Chena, look at what he does. This guy that made the horns of iron, I believe it was, came near and smote Micah on the cheek and said, which way went the Spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto thee? He's mocking him. We see this with, and what is it? I want to say Ammoniah, but it's with Alma and Amulek, when they're in prison and the people come up and say almost the same thing. Which way did the Spirit of the Lord went from me to speak unto thee? And Micah said, Micaiah said, behold, thou shalt see on that day when thou shalt go into an inner chamber to hide thyself. He's saying, you're going to get your comeuppance. You'll see. I don't know if it ever tells you what happens to this Zedekiah person, but it's not going to be good. When the king of Israel said, then the king of Israel said, take Micaiah and carry him back to Ammon, the governor of the city, and Joash the king's son, and to Joash the king's son, and say, thus saith the king, put this fellow in prison and feed him with bread of affliction and the water of affliction until I return in peace. See, he's now done his own prophecy. I'm going to return in peace. Just like these 400 liars told me. And Micaiah said, if thou certainly return in peace, then hath not the Lord spoken to me. And he hearkened, and he said, hearken all ye people. Check. If he comes back in peace, then keep me in prison. I don't care. But you're going to find out. It's amazing to me, this whole story. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself, and I will go to battle, but put thou on thy robes. He's basically saying, you be the king you are, but I'm going to disguise myself. Then that prophecy cannot come true, because they won't know that I'm the king, and they won't fight against me because of that. So the king of Israel disguised himself, and they went to battle. Now the king of Syria had commanded the captains of the chariots that were with him, so his strongest men, saying, fight ye not with the small or great, save only the king with the king of Israel. So all they're supposed to do is go after the king of Israel. They are the elite squad going after the king of Israel, and that's what they're going to do. And it came to pass, the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, and they said, it is the king of Israel. Therefore they compassed him about to fight. But Jehoshaphat cried out, and the Lord helped him, and God moved them to depart from him. I'm not sure how this worked out, but he cried to the Lord, he prayed to him, and God helped them. And they left Jehoshaphat. He's not the king of Israel. That is not the king of Israel. We better go find the king. He might be a king, but he's not the king we're supposed to be looking for. Let's go find the real king of Israel. And it came to pass that when the captains of the chariots perceived it was not the king of Israel, they turned back again from pursuing him. And a certain man drew a bow at a venture, meaning off the off chance, He just was, it's a battle. Somebody shoots an arrow in the air, hope it hits somebody. And it smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. So he's got all this armor on that would have protected him if the arrow hit them. But they found the little joints where, he has to move his arms and he has to move his legs and things. And he gets shot there. And that is like 1 in 100 chance, even if you were aiming. And this guy sounds like he wasn't even aiming. He's just shooting into the battle, hoping that he hits something. And he said to his chariot man, turn thy hand, that thou mayest carry me out of the host, for I am wounded. And the battle increased that day. Howbeit the king of Israel stayed himself up in his chariot against the Syrians until even. And about the time of the sun going down, he died. So he tried to say, yeah, it's not as bad as it looks. I'm just going to keep going, for the people need me to be here. And then he dies. Just like the prophecy. What a story, He just didn't listen to Micaiah. He never listened to anybody anyway, except maybe his wife. A really weird guy. He just would never get it. Anyway, we'll find out more tomorrow.